Show must go on. Hit the lights, we're going till there's no balls left. The stars go right up songs. Need some victim, won't you be our hopeless kiss? But if it helps, you can pretend. Can't think the wind inside your head. This nightmare's as real as it gets. In the circus of the, in the circus of the, in the circus of the dead.
We got away from Tidmouth Shed all because of Daisy's engine. Daisy was efficiently now gone. She was never rebuilt again after her death. Thank God we brought Edward with us. He is clearly not feeling well. Hopefully he'll be better soon. We arrived at Elsbridge Toby. He was shocked to see Edward. He asked us what happened while you were gone. Douglas said he saw Oliver and Daisy right at Tidmouth Shed. Then he saw Edward inside. After all that happened, he said that Daisy's engine was exploding and nearly killed Oliver, but he ran away until Daisy got explosive. Toby said nothing about it. I felt sorry for him because he's no Daisy in the decade, but now she's gone. We parked Edward behind to the coaches while we're heading out to find more survivors. I told Edward that we found Gordon's crew so they could be Edward's driver and fireman for now. We'll come back to Toby, Edward. Crosby Station to switch the points because we saw some vans in the coal truck next to one of the trucks. I went inside the signal box to mention the points while Brian keep on eyes at Douglas. As we coupled up to the train, we head out to look for some engines. We arrived at Wellsworth Station and left Douglas to find some if engine they are there. We came back to Douglas and told him that we found a big green diesel in the shed. We slowly moved Douglas to surprise him to see who was there. Douglas looked around and can't believe who was there. There at the shed was Boco along with his crew. That's why we wanted to surprise him that they found a survivor. Douglas was happy to see him. Now that we're all here, we put a train to the yard so that we stick together. We parked Douglas next to Boco's and his crew went to find food, water, while the two engines began to tell them what happened after that. Boco wanted to tell Douglas what happened to him after that, so he began to tell him. He said he was working at Wellsworth station while Edward was called away to help at Knapford harbour, so he had to shunt in the yard when Edward returned. They arrived with the express coaches. He was enjoying talking Boco. When Beer was unloaded past and onto his train, he could that everything was the same in the sky, and so was Boco. All of a sudden they heard a siren sound in a distance. The sky was all turning black so quick Beer could just standing there and watching it make his dark. Passengers had get into the train and screaming for their lives. The guard blew his whistle and Bear wasted no time and started pull his train out of the station. And as for Boco just stand there and watch in horror, his crew revved back to the shed where he was staying. He was back down to the shed, and so was his crew staying in Boco's cabin. When he heard another engine in the distance, he wasn't sure who was that, but he stayed in the shed until the siren goes off. Douglas was glad that Boco was safe, and so was he. He asked Douglas if he found some survivor. Douglas said he found Edward Toby. They were at Elsbridge. Douglas might have to come back to them while they are still alive. We returned to our engines and brought food and water for us to eat for the night. It was been 5 hours since the day after that. I set up the fire somewhere. Douglas and Boco would talk about if any engines alive. Douglas said he saw Oliver at Knapford harbour with Toad. Boco said he saw Neville heading to direction. He didn't even stop to check on him. As they would continue talk about it, all of us heard the roaring sound around the area, but we couldn't see what was happening. But that's not what they heard. Boco and Douglas heard someone screaming and crying for help in the distance. They couldn't see who was screaming. A lot of blood and killing sound from the night. Both engines were shocked after that. They couldn't sleep for now. Brian and I had came back for Douglas because we had to leave in the morning and come back at Elsbridge for Edward Toby. It was morning as Brian and I woke up. We drive Douglas to Elsbridge and meet up with the others. We promised to come back for Boco and his crew. I won't let that happen to them after that. Came back to the others. They told us that they had finished cleaning in the yard while we were gone. Ed would tell us if we found survivors. Douglas told him about something went wrong last night. Someone was screaming and crying for help. Edward and Toby felt in shock how terrible it would be. They feel bad for Douglas that someone was killed last night. But luckily Douglas said he was at Wellsworth station and literally found Survivor. He said he found big green diesel engine that Edward knows. They found Boco and the shed along with his crew were there also. Edward was surprised to hear about such great news. He wanted to go to his branch line and meet up with Boco. Douglas said it was a good idea, so we raced back to Wellsworth to see Boco. We came a stop for a second because we saw something in the line. Edward asked us why did we stop, because we saw the black diesel in our line. That could only mean one thing. We saw it looked to be Mavis. However, she was smile at us and wanted us to be killed. Mavis's face had cut off, but that's not her. However, that was look like Mavis, but she was a monster and her face was all covered in black. She began to roar and started to move towards Edward and going for his next kill. Edward screamed in horror and started race back to Elsbridge station. Toby asked him what's wrong. He said he saw Mavis, but she was a terrifying monster, so they raced back to the station. Douglas raced back to them because Mavis is chasing him. Yard so that Mavis couldn't get to us, but Brian said he forgot to mention the points before she switched to the other tracks. But it was too late for that. Now Mavis came and rushed towards us and a roar sound, but something happened. Someone had switched the points and Mavis was headed down to Thomas branch line. Man, that was close. We shouldn't stay at Elsbridge until the close is clear. Maybe it was a bad idea for going off like that. We might have to come back tomorrow for Boco because he was worried about us. Tomorrow we must have a plan to get to Wellsworth station, Brian, and I made a plan about how 3 engines could get there. As we were saying about planning, we saw Thomas along with his branchline coaches, and Henrietta was there with him. He didn't stop to check on us and left the station. Thomas wanted to make sure Henrietta was safe. Douglas told Toby that Thomas had Henrietta with him. Toby was surprised why would Thomas and Henrietta with him. Toby wanted to rescue her. But Edward said it was too late to get her now. Douglas told him that maybe Thomas would protect your coaches when you leave her around every station. Toby agreed with him now.